Join me on this journey as I explore Penn's Grove National Bank. Why did it decay? What's going on with it now? What's the history of this place? All these questions will be answered throughout the video. I'm going to share my experience with how I felt and how I liked exploring this place. What's the history of this place? There isn't much information about when the abandoned National Bank and Trust in Penn's Grove was built. In 1900, John A. Denby and Preston Lee, both of Wilmington, went to Penn's Grove and started Penn's Grove National Bank with a few residents as stockholders and directors. Mr. Danby was director of his bank for about 10 years, and it was due largely to his wise financing and advice that the bank was successful. While a director, he would travel to Penn's Grove from Wilmington, where he was a cashier and later president of the Union National Bank, almost weekly to attend the meetings of the directors. In January 1925, the directors elected were Thomas E. Hunt, Dr. Newton H. Burnett, Joseph S. Flanagan, Robert F. Wells, and Edith D. Turner. The officers chosen were Dr. Newton H. Burnett, President, Joseph S. Flanagan, Vice President, and J. Milton Feathers, Cashier. On February 2, 1934, four men stole $130,000 from two banks' employees as they were entering the Penn's Grove National Bank and Trust Company with the money in 3 packages and a mall bag. The cash was used to meet the demands of the 3 employees of the E.I. DuPont Nemours and Company. The 4 men escaped in a maroon-colored sedan with stolen license tags on it. Later, the car in which the robbers fled was used on urban Penn's Grove Road, about 3 miles east of Penn's Grove. The bank gong and fire siren were sounded, and within 5 minutes, 50 automobiles carrying residents of the town and vicinity started in search of the robbers. The money was in bills of different small dimensions sent by the Philadelphia Federal Reserve Bank to Penn's Grove. The previous night, shortly before 9 a.m., Harold Anderson, bank teller, and W.H. Weldington, bank runner, went to the post office and obtained the money. As they reached the sidewalk in front of the building, an automobile drove up and 3 men, all with pistols, got out while a 4th man stayed at the wheel of the car. The bags were seized and tossed into the back of the car, which quickly sped away. The license tag of the robber's car was stolen 2 days earlier in a Camden form of the car of Miss Bernadette Jones while it was parked in front of her home. The holdup was one of the biggest in history of this section. Descriptions of only 2 of the men were obtained. One wore a black leather jacket with a zipper fastened. The other one wore a dark gray overcoat with a zipper fastened jacket beneath. Shortly after the holdup, a witness told police he saw 3 men of the suspicions appearing parked in a dark blue automobile outside the bank at different times for 2 days. The Delaware River Bridge between Camden and Philadelphia was immediately guarded at both ends, and the river landing place were put underground. The first state police reported said that 150 was taken, but a quick check with the Federal Reserve Bank in Pennsylvania and the DuPont Company in Wilmington indicated that the amount was $130,000 because the money was taken in the mail sacks. It appeared likely that the federal officials would join the hunt. Penn's Grove was about 25 miles south of Philadelphia and opposite Wilmington, Delaware. On February 5th, 3 men and 1 woman were arrested by Camden, New Jersey police and held on suspicion of having participated in the payroll holdup. 2 suitcases containing $35,000 of the loot were found in a home occupied by the suspects. They were John Farley, New York City; Charles Kent, Canton, Ohio; Harry Greenberg, Philadelphia; and Greenberg's wife, Rose. On March 2nd, indictments were present against John Fordell, 27, alias Farley, of Detroit, Michigan, and Carl Johnson, 45, alias Charlie Kent of Canton, Ohio; Harry Greenberg, 29, and his wife, Rosa, 27, of Philadelphia, were also under arrest and released on bail for $10,000 and $5,000 respectively. On March 29th, Fordell and Kent were sentenced to terms of 14 to 15 years in New Jersey State Prison by Judge J. Foreman II in the Salem County Criminal Courts. On August 31st, Emil E. Martin, and allies for Willard Willems, identified by fingerprints as an escaped Philadelphia convict, was arrested by Warren, Ohio police on the uncounted shooting. He had a copper box sorted shut hidden in the wall, which contained $16,000 from the Penn holdup. On October 21st, facing trial for murder, Emil E. Martin escaped from Warren County Jail. He made his escape with the aid of summoned pistol. In January 1937, the directors were Dr. Newman H. Burnett, Joseph S. Flanagan, Thomas H. W. R. Kidd, and W. S. Leap, and Burnett was president, and Milton Furthers cashier. On February 14, 1936, John Fordell's conviction was sustained by the state Supreme Court in Camden, New Jersey. While Charles Kent testified, Fordell was asleep in a rooming home at the time of the robbery. The Supreme Court held that the trial jury was privileged to discount the story. On January 9, 1940, former Mayor Robert W. Kidd was elected president. He was also the postmaster and previously served as the sheriff and county director. The bank had gone without a president since the death of Dr. Burnett Wilson S. Leap was a re-elected vice president and J. Madison Feathers cashier. The directors were Kidd, Leap, Feathers, Thomas E. Hunt, and Joseph S. Flanagan. On May 26, 1950, an open house party held at the Penn National Bank and Trust Company celebrated its 5th year construction at the cost of $150,000 in 1928 to 1929. The bank at the corner of West Main and Oak Street was the third structure used by the organization since formation in 1900. The earliest quarters were in the harness shop of Joseph C. Robbins, followed by the original bank building, which later served the community needs as the Penn Grove Public Library. Cashier J. Milton Further was an employee since 1926. He credited John H. Demby, a well-known Wilmington banker, and promoted and organized the bank movements along with the late Joseph D. Wickner, a sea captain and Wrought resident. Mr. Furthers listed the first board as being Joseph D. Wesker, David D. Leap, John H. Demby, Joseph G. French, and Thomas E. Hunt. The board in 1950 was composed of Robert W. Kidd, W. S. Leap, Vice President, Joseph S. Flanagan, Dr. Charles L. Flamm, and J. Morton Feathers. Why did it decay? It decayed due to water being in the basement and people vandalizing the building. As you can see in the video, there's a lot of fire damage to this location. what's going on now? As of this video, the building is still abandoned. There are no plans for the future of this building, but that can change. My experience. I liked exploring this place. I wish the basement was not flooded. Getting into the building was very interesting. I had to climb into a small window. Getting in was very hard. When I was getting out of the building, one of my foot was stuck in the window and the other was on the ground. Wish I videoed it. I felt safe at this place. No one bothered me while I was exploring this location. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and lastly, don't forget to hit the notification button so you'll know when new videos get released.